All right, so basically what's going on here is that we got this investigator, and he's saying, okay, so basically we asked the woman, right, the woman, and we asked her, he said, did you get pregnant? Right? Did you actually get pregnant? And she said no, right? So what is that? What is this thing, right? She's saying no. That is the evidence of deception, right? That is the evidence that you're looking for of deception, right? So that's actually actually what he found what he was looking for, but the guy is something wrong with his a momentary lapse in judgment, right? I'm not going to call him retarded. I mean, momentary lapse in judgment. And he's saying, oh, there was no pregnancy, right? Well, he knows that the whole point of this story is that it induces the miscarriage of a pregnancy without the knowledge or consent of the woman, right? So she doesn't even know that she's pregnant. So this is the evidence of deception, right? This is the evidence of deception. This is exactly the point, right? And he discovered that evidence, right? He discovered that evidence, but instead he's all like, well, she's saying that she wasn't pregnant, so she wasn't pregnant, right? It's this evidence isn't exculpatory. It's not exculpatory evidence. It's positive evidence of it backs up my claim, right? Right? But he's something going on there that he can't see that or something like that. Maybe he doesn't understand the issue. It does take a lot of. He's like, oh man, I've read everything you were saying, but it's very complex and complex wording and all this stuff and legal arguments and all this. Well, yeah, it's legal arguments. Yeah, it's complex. No, it's not even complex. This noxious substance is administered without, and it causes the miscarriage. If you want to be that generous, it's a termination, and that it kills the baby, without the knowledge or consent of the woman. So then he's all like, he's asking her, he's all like, hey, yeah, okay, so, we're investigating Dr. Michel Dow's, the administration of noxious substance. He's legitimately, doing his job. Okay, all right, so that's good. So then he gets the evidence that he needs. He gets the evidence that he needs. He gets she confesses, right? She's saying that I was never pregnant. I was never pregnant. Okay, that means what? Oh, that means she was never pregnant. No! 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 That means that she was deceived, and she was unaware that she was pregnant, and she was unaware that she had the miscarriage. Right? He can't go past that. It's a momentary lapse in judgment. I mean, I'm not gonna go, with what I really want to say is that he's 100% retarded or whatever. But I mean, come on. Come on. You're fishing for a way to. You're doing every possible thing. It's so illogical how you would close the file, right? So basically, what these people are doing. Same thing with the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia. That's all they're doing. They're saying, how can we close this file, right? It's how can we close this file? That's the number one thing that they're looking for. They're looking for the way to close the file, right? That's the point, right? They're not looking for a conviction. They're not looking for a viable conviction. No way. And I'm like, listen, she was deceived. Right? That's the point. That's the point. If you read the FDA, it says the fertilized ovum, right, will fail to implant. Right? It's very, very clear. It's not very clear, but it is clear. It does take training and understanding to know that the fertilized ovum means a healthy pregnancy, a viable pregnancy, a healthy baby boy or baby girl, and that will die. Fail to implant means die. Yeah, yeah. It's an unnatural death. It's calling it a miscarriage. Miscarriage suggests that it's a natural kind of thing. Oh, the miscarriage or whatever, very sad. No, it's not. It's an unlawful termination of a pregnancy without the knowledge or consent of the woman. Now, okay, so that causes serious bodily harm to the woman. I mean, don't try to pretend that it doesn't, right? But they're going to try to pretend that it doesn't. They're going to say, "Oh, no, it doesn't." Inducing the miscarriage. I'm just going to say that inducing a miscarriage of a child does not constitute serious bodily harm, but it does constitute serious bodily harm. I mean, you're going to sit there and tell me that inducing a miscarriage does not constitute a serious bodily harm to a woman's body, including the baby that's going to die, of course, but to the woman's body? Yes, inducing a miscarriage without the knowledge or consent of a woman will cause serious bodily harm to the woman, right? But she doesn't even know that she's pregnant, right, because of the deception. So now we have a situation where This is the best part. You have to educate, right? So somebody has to be the educator here. We have to be the educator, and we have to educate the woman, or she has to be educated on herself. She has to actually read the insert from 10 years ago. The baby would have been 10 years old. I'm missing a 10-year-old, right? That's the point. I am missing a 10-year-old. My 10-year-old is gone because of this, right? Right? My 10-year-old is gone. My 10-year-old has died, and he lived, right? And he was fully viable and great and wonderful and full of potential. And prior to his first breath, he was violently taken away from us, right? And what sick, twisted injustice is this? We have to navigate this. I know I'm laughing, but I feel like crying. So, it's very, very sad. So basically, what's happening is, the situation where, this water sound in my video. I'll move. All right, so maybe I'll go here. Where am I going? All right, I gotta go here. Sorry about that water sound. Right here. Let's go here. All right, so basically what's happening is that the deceived person, the woman, the woman has to somehow figure out that she was deceived, and then she has to file a claim. But the problem is that, where in the law does it actually say that the woman, the victim, has to be undeceived, right? It has to be lifted the veil of truth and to be made aware. Not only lifted the veil of truth, I mean, the truth was there all along, but to be educated, or maybe for her to accept the truth, right? Since when does that equate to... What does that have to do with Dr. Michel Dow's wrongful, gross medical negligence causing death? I mean, that's a separate thing, but they won't accept a complaint without the realization of the woman or something like that. I don't actually know how that works, because it's so nutty that, and then the analysis is all like, no, you have to make sure that the victim is aware of the deception. But I'm all like, well, the victim is deceived, right? Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, the problem is, and that's the analysis. I'm reading the analysis, and I'm like, I can't even believe that nonsense. Like, if you read the analysis for yourself, you'll be as shocked as I was. I'm like, what are you talking about? How can that even be? How can the deceived person's deception hinge on whether there's criminal charges or not? Right? Let's say, for example, Dr. Michel Dow lies to the patient, yeah? No, this is not an example, that's what happened, right? So lies to the patient, right? And says, this drug doesn't prevent pregnancy, this drug prevents pregnancy. Yeah, she's lying to the patient. She said, this drug prevents pregnancy. But it doesn't. And then she successfully deceived the woman, right? So the woman engages in intercourse, right, and then conceives a child, right, and then the child is viable, healthy, fully intact DNA. There's no problems, that there's 100% viable pregnancy, right? So then the child dies because of the mechanism of action of the drug, right? And then at the implantation stage, right? And then the woman doesn't even know that she's lost the pregnancy. The woman doesn't even know that she was pregnant in the first place, right? So like, oh, I'm pregnant. Oh, I lost the pregnancy. Like, there has to be like a way for her to actually know that, but it didn't register in her conscious mind that she's pregnant, right? Because she didn't know that she was pregnant, right? That's the whole point, right? But then, she lost the pregnancy, and she didn't even know that she lost the pregnancy, right? She didn't know that she was, miscarried the baby, right? She didn't know, right? So then, Dr. Michel Dow walks free because she successfully deceived the woman. So then the dad, me, I'm all like, okay, obviously the mechanism of action caused the death of my child. My child was very valuable, a distinct human being, 50% of my DNA, and I should have the right to complain, right? You shouldn't, bar me from complaining because of my gender, right? What? Why would charges not be able to be filed? Why would charges not be able to be filed if Dr. Dow successfully deceived the woman? Why? Right? Like that. It's so hard to even formulate the question. Let me try it again. Let's say, for example, Dr. Dow successfully deceive the woman, forever, right? Some people, they believe some things that are not true, right? And that will harm them, right? That will harm them, right? So let's say, for example, this deception, right? This deception. Let's say, for example, this deception is so strong, right, that she will never come to the conclusion, never come to the realization that she was actually pregnant and she lost the pregnancy. Let me say that again. Let's say, for example, the deception was so strong, that she will never come to the realization that she was pregnant and lost the pregnancy. Then the deception is successful. Then that means that you can't indict the criminal that caused the death of the baby. Like, when does the knowledge or the coming, unveiling of the deception have anything to do with filing criminal charges against the perpetrator of the crime? It doesn't make sense, right? So the whole point of this video is that the investigator went to the woman, right, and said, right, did you ever get pregnant? And she said no. And he's like, oh, okay, well, you didn't get pregnant. But he misinterpreted that wrong, right? He misinterpreted. He should have said, there's the evidence of deception, right? There's the evidence of the deception. No, I never was pregnant. Oh, that means that, not that you were not pregnant, it means that you didn't know that you were pregnant. It's very simple. I mean, it's not very simple, but, I mean, that's what it is. It's a little bit complex. It's actually not very simple, but it is, that's what it is, right? She didn't come to the realization that she was pregnant. And she lost the baby without even knowing that she was pregnant. And she lost the baby without even knowing that she was pregnant, and she lost the baby. That's the deception. That's the point of the deception. That's not informed consent. I mean, you don't have informed consent there. This is not informed consent. The fertilized ovum will fail to implant. Okay, so that means that the death of the baby. That's very clear. It's very, very clear. But people will have the deception. That deception is very, very strong. You have a deception that is extremely powerful. The deception is extremely powerful. So who's going to be the educator here? We have to have some sort of education service to educate the person that Dr. Michel Dow was doing, gross medical negligence against, right? It's perverse. It creates an incentive that, if Dr. Michel Dow successfully deceives the patient, that she's in the clear. That's what it is. Let me say that again. It incentivizes her to be as deceptive, as powerful, to use the most deception as possible. Because if she's 100% deceptive, right, and she really, really does, brainwash the woman into believing her lie, and the woman will never believe the truth because she trusts that friendly face. She looks like a friendly woman. She's got a lab coat and a stethoscope and all this stuff. Don't let that friendly smile, deceive you. She's a really, really psycho killer, right? She's a very, very dangerous woman. Very dangerous woman. She killed more than 1,000 souls, right? She's the killer in more than 1,000 souls. It's really quite serious, man. And I shouldn't have to deal with this rigmarole, right? This rigmarole of having to deal with these inept police officers, right? This corporal misinterpreting the evidence of deception into... I think I've made my point in this video. I'm just going to recap it. So basically the corporal himself, Vince, here, lots more evidence on that guy. He's all like, he should have, okay, so the woman was like, no, I was never pregnant. My 2 children are alive and well, and they're great. Which they are. They're very wonderful. But he should have said, okay, so you didn't know that you were pregnant. Sorry, he should have said, he should have asked, are you aware of any other pregnancies? And she would have said no. And that's it, right? That's the evidence. That is the evidence of deception. But no, you can't in this wacky world. You have to be made aware of the deception. And that incentivizes criminals, psycho criminals, from, number one, to create more harm, and to be more deceptive, and to shield them from liability. It is a wacky thing that I've uncovered here. I don't know why I'm the one that has to deal with this, but anyway, we'll be seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye.